Welcome to Embrace the Spiritual Podcast. Join friends Michelle and Dawn as they share tips on how you too can open your heart, raise your vibration, and reclaim your sovereignty. Hear what they have experienced and overcome in their spiritual journeys while navigating this expansive spiritual multiverse. Discover how they transform their soul lessons from ordinary into extraordinary.
Follow, subscribe, and share Embrace the Spiritual Podcast on all streaming services, including YouTube. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Go to embracethespiritual.com for bonus content and a list of upcoming episodes. To book an aura regression, raw Reiki, or Akashic reading with Dawn, go to her website, alchemy-sacredsound.com. And to book an aura regression, raw Reiki, Akashic reading, or to do a home or pet clearing, visit Michelle on her website at energetisembrace.com. Welcome back to this exciting episode. We have our third special guest, and we're just so excited that she was able to join us. This beautiful being that is with us today is also a certified AURA and RAAH Reiki practitioner. She's a quantum galactic Akashic reader. And the reason we're all here, she's a light language quantum healer. She is such a beautiful soul on earth, healing the collective through her light language. She's dedicated her life over the last few years to opening and developing her gifts, helping others achieve their full potential. And we finally were blessed to meet her a few months ago in Nashville. And Nubia, she always does everything from pure love. You can just feel it radiating from her. And she's here to help those who come to her for guidance and improve their quality of life and ascending life. And it's just so beautiful. And we are so excited to have her here. And we did this episode recording last minute. It's being released in one day because today being the 222 portal and another 2s in 2024. So what a magical day. And Dawn, if you can let us know what we're chatting about today.
So yes, today, light language. We've heard of it. What is it? Where does it come from? How do we know that the ones that we're listening to are of pure light? I know that I have heard other light language that has not moved me, like Nubia's has moved me. So, I just love you so much. I know you're doing so much on such a quantum level every moment of your day. So thank you so much for joining us today. And, tell us more. We're so interested. I know the angels are like, yes, let her speak.
Yes, I would like to thank you all for inviting me. It's an honor to be here with you, beautiful souls. And how everything started, it just doesn't happen, from one day to another. My spirituality and my path towards spirituality started in 2012, where I started meditating and I started seeing myself in other realms and other realities. That's what got me to learn more about spirituality. And throughout this time, I have had many personal teachers. And as I reach certain levels, they're like, okay, it's time for you to learn from another spiritual leader, because this is all that I can teach you from my perspective of spirituality. And throughout time and doing my inner work throughout this period, everything is guided by our teams of light. And when you get to that moment that you need to be activated, it comes to that time. So that time reached for me. And my teams of light were like, Nubia is ready. She will be activated, speaking light language to communicate with her teams of light, her ancestor galactic teams to help humanity evolve to another level. But until I had done all that inner work, was I ready to be activated? So through meditation, with my teams of light and other teams of light that were there, it was sort of like a ritual of our ancestors and everyone for me to be activated with the light language. After the activations that you receive in any meditation, there is an integration of all that was activated and for you to properly integrate. And when they activated me with light language, it just came. In my normal day to day, I wanted to speak English and my tongue was twisted and I was like, oh, here now and our teams of light test you before they fully activate you with the light language. So at first it was kind of scary because I still work in the corporate world and I educate doctors. And I was like, tra, tra, and I couldn't speak English. And I was like, oh no. So there was a pause for some time with the light language because the teams of light are like, is she ready to fully take this, embark in the full extent of the light language? So it stopped for me. And then I was like, okay, teams of light, can we control it? Can you assist me to control it where I need to use it, with beings that don't understand light language? I could use the other languages and light language when I communicate with you or with other beings that understand, that feel the connection to all that I am. So throughout the years, I learned how to interpret the light language. The language that I speak goes back to the Sumerian language. My form of light language goes to Sumeria. And at this level that I am now, I am able to bring in the light language. I'm activating you at a quantum level, working with all the cells, past, present, future lives that you are, to heal you and allow you to be in your highest love light energy. But it has been quite a journey and it's not easy. I've also had to remove blocks that you had as a human, unawakened, of judgment, of all this other. So I had to remove all those blocks. And now it's like, I fully understand that I am here for this. And I know that those that are of the light will feel me within their hearts and will feel that energy within them. And when you allow me into your hearts, you allow the magic to unfold through light language. Light language is the tool for me to access all the different realms. So if you allow that into your heart, you'll start seeing what I'm transmitting to you, and that will start unblocking things within you that you will also have access to that frequency, that tone that comes in with the different beings of the different universes. Because the light language, I call it a universal language that in higher realms, some of the different universes in space, they speak telepathically. So there's no form of light language, but the different beings that do, it's like a tone that I hear with different colors, different frequencies. So as I'm speaking and connecting to those beings, those frequencies, tones, and energies are going to you, and those that allow that into their hearts, and you're receiving their energy directly from them. It's like they're here with you now, and I'm bringing them to you. It's just beautiful. It's just another world, many worlds that I tap into with this. And for everyone that has sessions with me, they experience wonderful things within their life. Our teams of light want you to be doing here in earth what you were meant to do. And if you're not in that path that you were meant to do, when you have a light language session with me, the light language activates you to be fully in the path that you should. So I've had beings that come to me that should be writing books, and something magically occurs within them that they can't stop writing. They're like, Nubia, I don't know what's happening. I just can't stop writing and I'm getting all these ideas. And they're like, I'm sending you my first book. Like, I know that you were the one that set me in that path. And I also get visions of like the future. So there is spiritual leaders like us that had thoughts of doing something, but they haven't actually crossed that. Yes, I'll do it. So sometimes I bring confirmations for them that I've seen already happen in the future, and it will be a successful endeavor for them or a successful move for them in business. And they go full on because I already saw it happening in the future. If they thought of it and they're still kind of hesitant to move, in that direction. So every day I'm so grateful for our teams of light. When we haven't awakened yet, we feel that we have so many questions, why this, why that. But when we tap into all that we get all those answers and we feel all the love. Myself, I have been in many universes. In me, I have connections to Lyra. I've been myself a lioness in Lyra, and I connect to our Lyran people there. And different beings are Arcturians. I help them with technology development through light language. And here in our physical day-to-day, I join many groups to do grid working and clear the energies of the planet in different places of the world. It takes all of us. We are an army of light, and with all of our unique gifts, we work with one another to make the mission a success.
That is so beautiful. I love that story of how it came to be for you, and the couple of other people that I know that do light language as well had similar experiences where it was kind of like that spontaneous, all of a sudden something just clicked. One of them speaks light language and the other one speaks light language with her hands. She also speaks verbally, but also with her like whole hands and body. It's just kind of amazing to see. One thing that I kind of wanted to ask, which I think isn't common around light language, and maybe you can help clarify that. I know from watching your videos and listening to your transmissions that you're able to provide that intuitive channeling of what the light language is actually expressing. And I suspect that's because of the level you're at, and that some people are just, intuitively delivering the light language without being able to translate it. I don't know if that's something that is just the way it happens, that some people can translate, some people can't. I know that for those of you that are kind of new to light language, as Nubia said, it speaks to your soul. It's soul language, soul speaking to soul. And I think that's why some people aren't at that point where they can translate. So that was one of the questions that I had is, how are you able to translate it? How did that come about for you? Is that an intuitive channeling you do? So that was one of the questions I had.
Yes, it is not easy, and it takes a lot of work in my end to be able to do all this, because when you're in that energy of light, the light that I am translating to you is coming at light speed. The light codes that come in, that's how people, when they do light language and they're going and you're seeing the movements they're trying to translate all that they're seeing in their mind with all these light codes. For me as well, sometimes when I'm speaking light and you come with those movements, but I ask my teams of light, I want people to understand me in their language, what I am saying, what I'm doing, my energy, so they could be able to understand. And I work with them throughout years. It's not something that is easy to do. And at first it was like that. There was no English terminology with the light language. So I worked with myself and continue that, but I ask my teams of light to be able to communicate as I am expressing the light and activating these beings with these light codes, so they are able to understand what they are activating within them. And I feel that light should be transparent. If I am speaking to your soul, to your heart, the light should be transparent to where you feel comfortable, that what I am transmitting to you is transparent as the love, as the light that we are. And there is other beings that transmit that, but how do you know that you're not tapping into a dark energy? So until I felt fully that I was able to interpret that to everyone, that I knew 100% that you are strictly connecting to source and all that is the highest love light, I felt comfortable to come out to the public, because I am able to truly take you to that path of the most purest and highest love light energy. And that is why I decided to do it this way. When you're not sure of something, that you're just learning something, you have to master that. You have to master it. So when the students come, you're able to assist them and help them and guide them through the process. And well, this happened, and be able, and it wasn't easy, there's many things to be able to master something, but in order to be a teacher for students that will come to you, you need to be able to break those barriers, those challenges, and be ready for those students that are coming to you. So this is the way that I have done it. I respect everyone how they do it, but to me, it makes more sense for me to know what I am transmitting to you and for you to be able to understand what I am transmitting to your soul, to all that you are. And then in that, is your soul willing to accept what I am transmitting? And then you have free will and you say, yes, I accept this. And then you allow that integration, all those codes to activate you, all that you are. And sometimes when I connect with our teams of light, they know who will come to see the recordings, and they look at all the students that are there or the beings, and they already know your level of development in your spirituality, the inner work that you have done. And from a higher perspective, they tell me some of the students in this class that have tuned into this frequency are not there yet. And they show me, but they're like, listening to this will want them to do the inner work, and they will reach that point. So they are, tuning in because they want to further that, and that gives them that drive, that strength to keep on going and go in that path that they kind of are in the right path or not. I am the strength and hope that they need to do what they should be doing.
Beautiful. I love it. And I have been listening, like getting downloads. I mean, I've listened to light language and I've never seen the images that Nubia's light language have. There was one that I was doing, and literally I could feel my third eye being like something was tapping my third eye because the energy was just pulsating, and it was so beautiful. And the colors were like sci-fi movies. It was so magically heart opening. And I'm like, we have to have her on the show because it's just not one. I have done multiple, I just go through your list and I'm just like, I'm going to pick this one. And sometimes it is a little bit hard energetically to because I do it when I'm going to sleep. Probably shouldn't, but that's when I have time to, but they're just so amazing. And the angels were asking me, are you going to write a book? And what top 3 videos would you suggest for somebody who wants to start their healing process of opening their heart more?
I do have that I will write a book in the future. And we're all like a spark of creator, right? So the top 3 recordings for a person might be different for their soul than the other. So I ask everyone that comes to the channel, and that is just, curious, because curiosity is where it got us to be curious, to learn more, to explore, and that whatever they feel within their soul is the right one to start with. And I always trust that our teams of light are always there guiding each individual soul to the right path, to the right person, because that's how it occurred to me. I started meditating with a group, and then they saw something more that they couldn't understand themselves. And they're like, go here. And even when I started spirituality, that were very advanced beings, now they're like, are you sure? Are you sure you're just starting? Or like, because usually people that start meditating don't have these vivid seeings of other universes. It's not like that for beginners. And there's something in me as well that when I am in those places, I'm able to use all my senses, the smelling, hearing. It's like if I'm there in that reality at that time. And I started shocking people even in my beginning stages, because I would talk to them just by phone, and I'm like, it's raining where you're at. I could smell the wet dirt and almost taste it. And they're like shocked, like, what's happening right now? They're like, it's pouring outside. I'm in, Canada or some other place of the world. And how could you possibly know if we're on the phone? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm just transparent in all those steps of your path. That the key is to be transparent with everything that you're feeling and seeing, and that truly tells the other person's what level you're at and what you need in your evolution and what other thing you need. So I think if someone's starting spirituality, I think you always need to have hope. And it is not easy being a spiritual being. It is not easy to quiet the mind and just be in a state of nothing outside of me can interfere with this time that I am giving myself to go within and discover and awaken and unlock more parts of me. But if you give yourself that time and you go within you start unlocking little pieces of you, start remembering past lives. And now that we're getting ready to go to our next retreat in South Carolina, I started awakening that Atlantean in me. And just this weekend, I started seeing all the beings from Atlantis all around me. And I was like, with my eyes open, I was like, what's happening? I am physically seeing all of you. They're like, yes, because you have integrated your Atlantean self. You're in that energy. So now you could see us with your eyes closed, with your eyes open. And it is just magical. Us going to these sacred places to do this mission that we were sent here, activate all of those that will be there, but at the same awakens us in that time and space and activates those abilities within us to even, you become more of your oneness in your multidimensional being in this human version that you are here and now.
Yes, we are excited for this next adventure for sure. And I just wanted to add, because I was so excited to get the episode started, that the videos that Dawn was talking about where Nubia shares her light language, and it's beautiful that you are gifting those videos to people. Her website is lightlanguagewithnubia.com. She's on YouTube as well, Light Language with Nubia, Instagram, TikTok. We'll throw those links on our embracethespiritual.com website, as well as it will be in the podcast recording. So I just wanted to add that quickly. But I want to go back to when you were talking about, those people that maybe start light language, that sometimes people listen to other people, and Dawn mentioned this as well, that maybe they are channeling not very nice beings, some non-benevolent beings. And we've talked about this in past episodes about really having that heart discernment around what you're listening to. If you start listening to something and you're like, shoulders kind of go up and it feels cringy, stop. Like, do not go back, do not pass go, turn around, turn the car around, and don't listen to it. So be really mindful because, as Nubia said, she wanted to be transparent in working on translating the information. And I think that's why your light language videos just resonate at a different level, because of that integrity that you ultimately put into the videos. And, not to discount or dismiss people that maybe aren't at that level, but be mindful, maybe look into the person. What kind of work do you feel that they've done on themselves? Because as Nubia said, we have to work on those parts of ourselves to remove the blocks and get to that space where we're operating from our heart. And you can feel it in those people versus the people that are there just to make money. When they're kind of at that stage when they're teaching, unlocking, and actually that's okay. So it's interesting that came up. So the inverted side, just be really mindful. I highly encourage you to, even if you've listened to light language before, come over, as Nubia said, kind of get a feel for what topic maybe resonates with you. And I can tell you that once you listen to it, if you go back to somebody else, that you go, oh yeah, I can feel the difference. So I wanted to bring that up, that really be mindful when you're searching light language. And of course, go to her website, book a service with her. You won't be sorry. That's for sure. So the question then popped in on that is, what are your thoughts about people wanting, because there's so many people that want to learn light language. I know the one person that started speaking light language, I actually did an Akashic reading for her years ago, and it came up in the Akashic reading that she'd be speaking light language. She didn't even know what it was. She's like, what? And I said, I don't know. It's in your field. It's coming. And same thing, right? It felt like it would be, and I just got goosebumps, felt like it'd be very spontaneous. And that's really what happened to her. And all of a sudden she's speaking light language. She's like, what is going on? So it was really cool. So by all means, have an Akashic reading with Nubia, Dawn, or I, because maybe it's something in your field. I think sometimes, people on the spiritual path just want to get these little tools and, oh, I'd love to do that, but not everybody's meant to do it. And so maybe have an Akashic reading or a session, maybe that'll come up to see if it's even your field. So I always really caution, I want to maybe get your thoughts, Nubia, on these people, organizations, whatever, that want to teach and activate light language in people, because that just kind of makes me a little cringy, but I just wanted to get your thoughts on that.
I feel that we're all different souls with different purposes. It is great that we all want to learn, certain specialties and everything, but in my path, I had no clue what light language was. When they said light language and when I started being activated with it, the first thoughts that go to your mind is like, well, people think I'm crazy when I, like start all this. There is beautiful beings that are meant to do this. And for those that are meant to do and activate the light language with them, they will be successful because it all comes from our teams of light. And something that is meant for you and that's already within you, it will easily flow. And like you said, if you have the different type of readings, different type of sessions, and you're destined to bring it out through light language, it will come out that way. There's fabulous people that I meditate with and we do energy work. And some of us different beings are meant to channel like recipes of the shamans of ancient time to heal with natural herbs. There is different beings that are more in their like fairy energy, so they're meant to activate the land, the flowers, and we're all different. So what I recommend for everyone is be who you are within your soul, and that is meant to be for you will flow very easily for you. And I feel if we're a beautiful light family, right? So everyone in your family and your personal lives is different, but you love them all the same. And working together with all the different elements and the different abilities within that team, it'll flow much better and have success in that mission. And like when we are going out to the retreats, everyone is beautifully talented in their soul and who they are and the way that they get the messages. And if they continue to getting the messages how they flow for them, it'll start unfolding even more. But that's the way that they're meant to have it. That's the way their soul was developed. And everyone should love themselves and fully embrace all that they are with all their gifts, their own unique way. And only like that, it will be a success for that person. So the light language, I believe that's already within your soul. And those that are meant to speak it when the time is right. Because we always have to do everything in divine timing. Only then will you be ready to fully activate that which you are ready for. And that is something that I had to learn in my personal journey as well. Because I'm a very, person in now, let's do it now and like yesterday, but I had to learn patience and I had to learn that everything was in divine timing. So when I fully surrendered to that, it's when everything started happening because I fully understood that I had no control over the path. Only our teams of light and everything that we are knows when you are ready fully to step into that new version or, and each time that we go and we're activated with all this, our energies shift. So the version that you meet today of you is different than the version that was yesterday because every day we're activating, we're working with beings that are activating something else within us. We're activating within others and we're always evolving. So if light language sounds like, you can't force something that is not, you're not ready for it yet. You might not understand what it is, but there is something that you have to work to fully be able to have that flow of the light within you and the light codes. And for me as well, it's not something that I asked for. It's just something that I had already done so much inner work. I did shaman work as well to heal my ancestry, galactic wars. I heal those too. I did so much healing that my teams of light were like, she is ready to be activated with this. And I was like, what? What is this? Then I was like, okay, if I am here in this step, I accept what I am supposed to do and let's do this, So I think we all should work in our journeys. And when you are right, if light language is meant to be in your life and to be a method to communicate with our teams of light and all that, it will flow through you. But if you're meant to channel some other way or receive the messages, you have to have an open heart and trust that right way that you receive the messages is the way that your soul is meant to transmit the light to other beings.
Beautiful. I love that. Our next episode is going to be on living in surrender. So I think it's perfect that you're mentioning this. I was just like, she's already stepping into the future. I know it. So it's so beautiful that you mentioned that. And, stay tuned because next episode, living in surrender. And I love how you're talking about the heart and the discernment, because that is so hard. We have been stuck in this 3D world for, since we were born and much longer than that. And it is so hard to let go and to trust in that divine timing because, again, we've been taught to want it now. Fast food, prime example. It's junk, but, you're hungry, slow cooking. Nourishing yourself and your soul is what it is all about. And it is so hard to make that shift of how to make everything as sacred as it should be. And it's just slowing down, taking the time. And I love that you mentioned that. And it just speaks to my soul on so many levels. And it is something that, the angels are saying it needs to be repeated because you can hear it the first time, the 10th time, the 100th time, and maybe the 200th time. It may be when it finally clicks. And it's just beautiful that we are all speaking this message because it is. This is how you break free from all that we have been programmed to do throughout all our lifetimes in space and to break the chains that they try to bring forth in the future. And I don't consent to that on any timeline. So thank you for sharing that, Nubia. I just love it. And it speaks so true to my heart. So, and Michelle, you asked all my questions. So I got nothing right now.
Oops. See, this is one thing about this podcast. It is not pre-planned. So we, sometimes we just have the conversations about what we think we're going to talk about. And yeah, but we're always connected, as Nubia and Dawn said. So, we're picking up what's in the field. I wanted to talk about the fact that light language, especially when it's spoken, really has basically different dialects. So you were saying that you're channeling the Sumerian energy, and there's certain races that, like you said, were telepathic communication. So I think there's maybe some myths around, light language maybe came from every type of race. It may not have. We don't really know. Is from what you understand, so there's a Sumerian light language. Are there different dialects within the light language? So somebody else might speak Sumerian, but maybe it sounds a little bit different. Just trying to give some guidance to people that are looking at different light language when people are saying they're channeling certain beings, just to help them have those tools. I guess we always like to give our listeners tools of what they can look for from a safety perspective, because if you listen to those inverted people, any attachments, entities within them, even by listening, as soon as you click play, you are giving consent. Like Nubia said, it's free will. You're consenting to accept whatever is being transmitted to you. So you have to be really careful. And that's why we love the AURA and RAAH Reiki sessions, because we can help clear those attachments that you don't even know you have innocently by either going to see someone in person or listening online. So any tips that you can offer as far as kind of understanding from what you know about the light language, maybe dialects or different races that light language would be transmitted through?
I would like to share like a story brief of my family. When I started doing the light language, the first, your family's like, what is this? Have you gone mad, Nubia? And my mother comes from the light as well. And throughout the years, I've discovered that she is a seraphim race of angels. And she's like the boss of a group of angels. And then now she's awakening. But I have one brother and 3 sisters. My sisters have had like outer body experiences as well, dreams. We've been in Egypt together, different realities, working in missions together. But my brother didn't understand light language well until he started meditating. And one day, his teams of light show them that in the higher realms, beings of different universes speak light language. So it's like the different languages that are here that have like different sounds and different vibrations. Light language is, and how I see it, like when I meditate, is like different beings with their light codes have different color frequencies. So their light language is like another color. But it's all light, but it's like a hue of blue or golden, the different colors of the light. And within that frequency, they have like a different tones, vibrations to that light language. So even if you listen to the light languages, when I connect to certain beings, you can tell the different tones within that light language, that you can tell that there's another energy there. It's hard to explain with words, but you could feel it within your soul. It's something that can be explained in our language, but when you feel it within your soul, you know that those energies are there. It has to be felt within your soul. And the same that I ask people to be very careful on who they allow into themselves is when you start listening to them, you start feeling within your soul that pulling back when there is someone that is not truly for their highest love light path. And throughout my journey, I have gone, many retreats, I've joined many events. And what I have noticed is that we have these very powerful people that are in the money and spirituality. Something within them since the beginning, something doesn't feel right. And you have to trust your inner guidance. If you continue going on, you'll discover why. And I'll share a story with you. I'm very connected to Egypt as I hold the fractal of Goddess Hathor within me. And that's how Aurora, she is a fractal of Isis, and how we're connected in Egypt and in different lifetimes. And I joined this webinar for this, I believe it was Lionsgate. We were going energetically to Egypt, and the person conducting this, I feel that they would do these events to see who in the audience was truly of the light or not. So what they will do in these events, it's like, oh, you're truly of the light. You have nothing to fear, because what you have to say is truly what's happening. And then I started seeing that the person having this event was like, oh, like he would know then. So then he would reach you out privately and telling you how it wasn't so bad to sell your soul, like demonic stuff. And I was like, I knew it. You felt it since the beginning. You shouldn't be, So you can't be so naive. And I've learned this through going through different events, and just think that everyone that says that they're spiritual or is meant to take you to a higher path is truly there for that. And, sometimes we have a lot of friends in our spiritual community, and sometimes they're like, oh, Nubia, let's, you want to go to this event or something. But my teams of light are very powerful, and I've reached a level that I'm very well protected. And I am the one to tell them no, because in other lifetimes, these beings that are conducting these events, they hold back our light people from truly doing your mission. So they're here once more in this reality in another form, in a nicer way, trying to hold them back. And I was like, no, you need to cut all karmatic ties to this person. And we are here on a mission. Let's get to it. I'm here on truly here to accomplish all that I can in this incarnation. And I'm not here to be distracted with any of this fooling around, because I believe that my soul has been through all that I already see what's, if you go to this path, what will happen. And I also mean the same for our light people, for those that are meant to be here and help us, clear the energies of planet Earth and move it to the next phase and continue. And if I see you that your soul is already awakening, you fully don't understand it, but I see you as your true, fully awakened being. And if you are within, that I know you, that I have a connection to you, I'll cut that very, I don't want you to go through that path and learn all that lesson. Our human years are not very long for all that needs to be done here on Earth. So if we use all that we are here in this space and this time to do it, Earth is already much more better place than when we found it, but we could do so much more with the years that we have left as a team. And when we see our peers, trying to, and it's that same impatience in the human unawakened us If we look back at our unawakened self, that impatient, that what we need to master, to learn, to trust, to surrender. We go back to the surrendering in perfect and divine timing. When we have that rush that we want to do things fast, we don't have trust. We're not in that trust. And we're not trusting the true timing that our teams of light have. So that delays us. So if it's going to take you longer, just surrender. Surrender to that is meant to be in your path and divine timing. And you'll grow much rapidly going in that pace, surrendering to all that you are and doing what you're meant to do, that inner work. And in order to reach your highest love light, and always asking every day, there's a lot of work that I do personally. It's not that you just wake up out of the bed and everything. Before I open my eyes, we have to set our protections. There's a more holistic way of living every day in order for you to make sure that you're living in your highest love light every second of your existence here. And everyone has to be willing to do that in order to be in your highest love light energy daily.
Absolutely. And I'm really glad that you brought up around, listening to these other speakers. And even though we're talking about light language, what I have found is there are some speakers out there that are crafty in how they speak. So they're not speaking light language, but you still have to be mindful of how they're speaking. I went to, kind of a spiritual conference. So this is before I found Aurora and her teachings. So this was part of my learning and awakening as well. And this one speaker, it's a male, and his name starts with doctor, and that's all I'll say. And when he spoke, it gave me anxiety. It was like, I could not sit in there because he was talking really fast, and it was almost like he talked so fast to almost put people in a trance to whatever he was saying. Like there was people, and these people follow this person to all of his events, and like that experience. I'm glad that I had that experience. My husband happened to be with me, and it's not necessarily about the content they're delivering. It's how they're delivering, what's inside of them. That's that heart discernment you have to experience. But I know listening to that person, it was just, anxiety is the best word, because I was just like, this does not resonate with me one bit. So really watch that in yourselves. And as Nubia said, even when someone asks you, a dear friend asked me to go see a speaker that's quite well known that's coming locally. And I know I talked to Dawn about it because I'm like, I just need a validation. I'm thinking I'm not going to this person. Like it just doesn't feel right. And she confirmed that for me. So sometimes, you could be picking it up. And if you have a beautiful friend like we have in this group that you can check in with just to make sure like this is how it's resonating with me. Are you picking up the same thing? So that's okay to do that, but really be mindful and treat yourself as the sacred soul that it is. You don't let just anybody in your house. So why would you let anybody into that soul level, into your DNA, and allow that infringement or whatever they have going on with them? So treat yourself sacredly and ask, Nubia does such a great job with this, and Dawn as well, of talk to your team. We can't express that enough. Talk to your team. Build that trust with your divine teams so that you can ask them, please only show me benevolent speakers or information. And as you do the work, it just becomes more obvious. These people is like, they fall away. And you're right. Nubia said this earlier, that some of those people are meant to be your teachers as you're going through the process. But like anything, you should outgrow some of those teachers because they're only there to maybe help open you up at this really particular point in time or for a specific purpose. So it's okay. I know this is a journey. Everyone's got their own journey. So be gentle with yourself. Be patient, have that surrender. I can't wait for you to listen to this episode and the next episode that we've already recorded because, of course, Nubia didn't know what our next episode was going to be. And Dawn and I always intuitively check in as to what we feel the content coming up will be. So as always, divinely is the information's coming out as it needs to. So final thoughts, Dawn, what are your final thoughts on this episode?
I got more, girl. So,
all right.
They're like, oh, you got to say this? thank you for mentioning the angels were saying the bigger the names, the bigger the manipulation, because that is the role that they have signed up to play. Just because they are in the public eye does not mean they are there for the greater good. And I'm getting angel bumps. So what we have thought was the greater good is not really what it was meant to be. You know, I grew up with big names on all these talk shows. I'm trying to like carefully tread so I don't mention names. The bigger the name, the more books they have out, the more manipulations they have signed away their soul for. And it's not for the greater good. They are being used as a pawn to keep us from awakening. So do you want to be part of that system that is keeping the awakening from happening? Or do you want to break free like we do and like the angels want us to do, and as source is guiding us to divinely step into our power? Or do you want to, keep backsliding and backsliding and backsliding? I would prefer the harder path of using my discernment, of saying no a lot of times, because I am the queen of saying no, and take the path that is less traveled, as Robert Frost said. So I'm so glad that we're talking about this, because it is about taking the path that is less traveled, of stepping into the unknown like Nubia did with her beautiful light language, and helping people and divinely awakening them to the inner angelic energy that they are meant to have. And I just wanted to say, I love how you put the holistic way of living, because that's how we should all be living. And we have been kept from doing that on so many levels. If you could just talk a little bit more about it, Nubia, I would appreciate it. Thank you.
Every day as we are sacred, when you go to trips, to temples, that everything is sacred and my home is always cleansed energetically every day. There is always candles lit up, tea lights, to ensure that everything is light. When I wake up in the morning, I have Shilaji tea in the mornings to start that off, and that lights up all the cells within my body. I drink lots of teas throughout the day, and that helps me be in this harmonious state. And when you are truly in a balanced state every day, it helps you to easily detect those energies that we're talking about that don't feel right to the heart. And that helps you to disconnect those cords energetically right away. And the sun energy is vital to the human vessel every day. Every day I have a daily sun connecting to the sun energy. As in Egypt, that part of me, that Hathor piece of me, always connects to the sun and says, "Good morning, Father, Son, and Ra." That I'm hearing her speak, and I connect to all that I am. We're multidimensional beings, and all those aspects of us require us to connect to nature every day, to connect to the air around us, the trees, everything that we are. And I also go and clear the skies around me. Energetically, I ask our dragon friends to come and clear that for us, because it's not well for our human vessel to be breathing, chemtrail energy. So I always talk to my teams of light, and I say, I'm here in a mission. I'm awakened. So the least that I could have is natural foods, the water that I drink, the air that I breathe. It should all be there for me so I could do this mission fully. Drinking vitamins, minerals every day. Some people are like, sometimes that, they're down in certain vitamins and they're like, oh, I'll take them when I know that I'm down. It has to be a daily practice to ensure that your body is strong. Working out as well. The more that you are lighter within, the more light that could flow through you. The more when you do that, when I do the light language, the easier the flow of the energy comes through me. And that helps me get strength to never give up in humanity. Because if I give up in humanity, then, we can never do that. And we are here as light beings to awaken those. So we have to be an example to those around us in everything that we do. And even day to day, people will ask you why certain things a certain way, and then that's the way that they come into that spiritual path, So you never know when you could be an inspiration to someone when your words could mean the world to others, and always speak from that higher version of yourself to all those around you. And that's what you can put, that grain of salt that you could put on somebody, so we could all go in the same path. And I always believe that there's no coincidences in life. So whoever you come across is meant to be there to show you something. And throughout my lifetimes that I have discovered, I have had many past life husbands and soul connections. And I always every day send them the highest love, light, energy, and wish them the highest path for them at whatever stage they are in their evolution. And everyone has free will in this lifetime as well. And we can make somebody go a certain path, but those few moments that we share with them with our open heart and with channeled messages, it will always stay with them because it is truly of the light, the messages that we give. And they'll always come back to the memories of those messages that you gave them, and will always be there. Even if they're going in a path that they shouldn't, they'll always remember one or two things that you told them because they comes truly from the heart. And the heart is truly the connection to all of our teams of light and all that we are. Having a full heart come into union, fully healed, is the power on to all that we are, all of our angels. And when you give messages to all those, they know that they come from that pure love, light energy. And they always remember and try to go in that path. And there's a lot of challenges. Like Dawn said, there's people that are mostly well known. The darkness will go after them to try to invert them and put them in the dark. There's very successful people that have come to me, very well known. And when I connect to my heart and all that I am, I have to speak with the truth and the messages from our teams of light, regardless of who you are. I treat everyone the same, regardless of your social status, your development in here. It has to be all the same. And sometimes the teams that you have of those very abundant and, financial people, they're not the highest for them. But for you to tell somebody that's coming to you for a session, look at your teams that are surrounding you. They're not the highest. It's a shock to the person, but I can't say something that is not the truth. And they'll go on their path, and it's for them to discover that the darkness is surrounding them and they have to get away from that, But we all have our past, and that is something that they're meant to learn as they haven't learned in other lifetimes, because when I do a session with someone, I could see past lives, and that's still something that they have to learn. So they come in the same abundant financial status, surrounded by dark, but doing things that are not for the light mission, and that they have to come and learn in this life.
That's so beautiful. We can't thank you enough for, first of all, being here, for sharing your beautiful story and helping ultimately raise the vibration of the collective in what you do, who you are, who you embody, what you embody, and just the authenticity and integrity that you uphold, that pure source love light. We couldn't thank you enough. And we are honored that you joined us on this special 222 Portal Day. And go check out Nubia's website. Again, light language with Nubia.com. And she is just a beautiful soul. And if you feel guided to work with her, you will only end up at a higher frequency. So thank you for being here. Dawn, any final thoughts?
Thank you, Nubia. So honored. It's been so beautiful. Got so many messages. So I thank you for this beautiful gift of being on our show. I love you so much with all that I am through all lifetimes in space.
It has been an honor to be speaking to you, and I trust that all of those that are meant to follow their hearts and truly connect to their highest love light path will find me in their path. And one way or another, like we found Aurora. Aurora was also a person that would just pop up for me, and our teams of light are there. Always trust that our teams of light will guide you to the highest love light energy. And I send so much love from my heart to everyone's heart, sending everyone big kisses and lots of love energy, as that is the energy that I come from, the love energy.
Stay tuned for our next episode of Being in Surrender, how you can take control of your life and be in the flow of what will honor your destiny.
Follow, subscribe, and share Embrace the Spiritual podcast on all streaming services, including YouTube. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Go to embracethespiritual.com for bonus content and a list of upcoming episodes. To book an aura regression, raw Reiki, or Akashic reading with Dawn, go to her website, alchemy-sacredsound.com. And to book an aura regression, raw Reiki, Akashic reading, or to do a home or pet clearing, visit Michelle on her website at energetisembrace.com.
With infinite love and gratitude, thank you for joining us.